paying $8,100 to watch Angel Reese play ball, especially when there are tickets. There was a ticket available for $29. $29 to see Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky play at the LSU.
The cameras didn't even have time to warm up before the chaos exploded. One arena looked abandoned, entire rows of seats sitting untouched, bargain bin prices flashing on ticket sites like a public humiliation. Across the country, another arena was already sold out, gone in just 36 minutes, fans scrambling, resale prices skyrocketing, security bracing for overflow crowds. And right at the center of that brutal contrast stood two names the WNBA can't escape: Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Sources say Angel Reese saw the screenshots before the game even tipped off. Unsold tickets, slashed prices, empty sections. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's game was being treated like a once-in-a-generation event. Fans camping online, celebrities posting countdowns, networks begging for flex coverage. The comparison was instant. The reaction was nuclear. Inside the league, panic spread fast. Players started whispering. Executives stopped returning calls. Social media turned vicious, with timelines split between celebration and outrage. Some called it unfair. Others called it inevitable. But everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't just about tickets anymore. Because behind the scenes, emotions were boiling over. Pride was wounded. Narratives were colliding. And when word leaked that Angel Reese was furious, not just frustrated, but feeling publicly embarrassed, the tension snapped. Teammates felt it. Coaches felt it. The league office felt it. This wasn't about one game or one night. It was about value, visibility, respect. And as the gap between empty seats and sold-out arenas went viral, one question started echoing louder than the crowd itself. What happens when the league's biggest rivalry stops being competitive and turns personal? Long before the screenshots went viral and the ticket charts turned into weapons, the emotional fault lines were already there. Angel Reese didn't wake up angry overnight. This had been building for years. Every interview, every highlight, every headline that seemed to drift just a little bit away from her and land somewhere else. She came into the league carrying college stardom, swagger, and the belief that personality plus production would translate into undeniable pull. For a long time, it did. Crowds showed up. Cameras followed. Her confidence wasn't an act, it was armor. But the WNBA changed fast. The spotlight narrowed. And then Caitlin Clark arrived like a seismic event the league wasn't prepared to contain. Clark didn't just bring points, she brought obsession. Ratings spikes. Merchandise floods. Kids wearing jerseys to school. Executives talking about market expansion in hushed, excited tones. Angel Reese saw the shift in real time. She heard the way questions changed. She noticed how broadcasts lingered longer on Clark's warm-ups than on entire opposing lineups. At first, Reese brushed it off publicly, smiling through interviews, preaching competition, telling herself respect would even out. Privately, it didn't feel even. Every road trip became a comparison trap. Clark's games were promoted weeks in advance, billboards plastered across cities. Reese's matchups felt quieter, marketing lighter, buzz thinner. Teammates tried to keep spirits high, but the numbers didn't lie. Attendance fluctuated. Some nights felt electric. Others felt hollow. Angel noticed the empty seats more than anyone, because she played with emotion, and empty seats echo louder than boos. The rivalry narrative didn't help. Fans framed everything as Reese versus Clark, but the league treated them differently. Clark was framed as a savior, a movement. Reese was framed as an attitude, a storyline, sometimes even a problem. That contrast cut deep. Angel had built her career on being unapologetic, but suddenly it felt like confidence had a different price tag depending on who wore it. Then came the early ticket reports. Pre-sale numbers leaked into group chats. Marketing projections floated through front offices. Angel heard whispers before the public did. Some games underperforming, promotions being adjusted last minute, discounts approved quietly. At the same time, Clark's games were becoming impossible to get into without paying triple. The emotional imbalance hardened into something sharper. Resentment mixed with fear. Because this wasn't just about ego. This was about longevity. About endorsements. About being seen as the draw versus being labeled supporting cast. Angel had worked too hard to accept the idea that popularity could swing so violently. By the time the screenshots hit social media, the story already had a heartbeat. Years of comparison. Months of silence. Weeks of internal frustration. And now, one brutal image. Unsold tickets on one side, a sold-out banner on the other, dragged all of that history into the open. Angel Reese didn't just feel overlooked. She felt replaced. And as that realization settled in, something inside her shifted, because this was no longer about proving herself on the court. It was about fighting a narrative that suddenly threatened to define her entire career. And once that kind of pressure takes hold, it never stays quiet for long. The moment the ticket screenshots went public, everything detonated at once. It wasn't a slow burn. It was a full-blown explosion that ripped straight through the league's carefully managed image. A single post showed two boxes side by side. Angel Reese's upcoming home game, rows of blue seats still wide open, prices slashed, promo codes blinking like warning lights. Right next to it, Caitlin Clark's matchup, bold red letters screaming sold out in 36 minutes. No discounts. No incentives. Just scarcity. Within minutes, the post was everywhere. Fans didn't debate it. They weaponized it. Comment sections turned ruthless. Memes poured in faster than moderators could delete them. Some mocked the empty seats. Others framed it as proof of favoritism, accusing the league of choosing sides. Angel Reese's name began trending, but not in the way any player wants. Every refresh made it worse. Influencers stitched the post with exaggerated reactions. Sports accounts ran polls asking who the real draw was. Even neutral analysts couldn't resist turning it into a referendum. Inside the Chicago Sky locker room, the mood snapped from tense to toxic. Angel felt it before anyone said a word. Phones buzzing nonstop. Teammates glancing at her, then looking away. The silence was louder than any crowd. When she finally checked her own mentions, it hit like a punch to the chest. Thousands of comments questioning her value. People comparing stat lines to ticket scans as if basketball were a stock market. Her confidence, normally unshakable, started cracking under the weight of public judgment. She didn't explode right away. She simmered. Meanwhile, the league office went into damage control mode. Executives flooded internal Slack channels. Marketing directors demanded explanations. Why were some games promoted harder than others? Why did one player's face dominate national ads while another's barely made local posters? The answers weren't clean, and that's what scared them. Because once fans sense imbalance, they dig. And digging exposes everything. Then Caitlin Clark spoke, without meaning to. It was a casual comment in a post-game interview. She was asked about the sold-out crowd. She smiled, thanked the fans, and said something that sounded harmless on the surface. It's amazing to see how much people love this game right now. Clipped, cropped, uploaded. Within hours, the quote was reframed as shade. Reaction videos accused her of ignoring other players. Some fans claimed she was basking in attention while others struggled. Others defended her fiercely, saying success wasn't a crime. The divide widened instantly. Reese versus Clark stopped being a storyline. It became a cultural argument. Angel watched the clip on repeat. That smile, that calm, that effortless moment of being celebrated. Something snapped. The next morning, Angel posted a single Instagram story. No caption, just the screenshot. The unsold tickets. The sold-out banner. Side by side. No emojis. No explanation. The internet lost its mind. Within seconds, the story was reposted by major sports pages. Was she calling out the league? Was she shading Clark? Was this a cry for help, or a declaration of war? Fans picked sides with surgical precision. Some praised her for being real, for exposing uncomfortable truths about marketing bias. Others accused her of jealousy, of blaming others instead of herself. But the real shock came 30 minutes later. An anonymous source leaked that the Chicago Sky front office had already raised concerns to the league weeks earlier about uneven promotional support, and those concerns had gone unanswered. Screenshots of emails began circulating. Subject lines blurred but unmistakable. Phrases like attendance concerns, visibility issues, and competitive balance in marketing exposure jumped off the screen. This wasn't just fan noise anymore. This was institutional. Kathy Engelbert's name started trending. Commentators questioned whether the league was unintentionally creating a hierarchy. Former players chimed in, some carefully, others recklessly. One said on live TV, "If one star is treated like a golden ticket and another like a risk, don't be surprised when resentment boils over." Behind the scenes, Angel was summoned to a closed-door meeting. Team officials urged calm. PR reps warned her about optics. They told her the story was getting away from them. Angel listened, arms crossed, jaw tight. When they suggested deleting the post, she refused. Quietly, firmly, because to her, this wasn't about tickets anymore. It was about respect. Then came the twist no one saw coming. A leaked internal report, allegedly from a third-party marketing firm, hit X late that night. It claimed that preseason promotional budgets had been reallocated mid-cycle to maximize immediate returns, funneling resources toward games projected to sell out fastest. The report named names, cities, players, and right there, in bold, Caitlin Clark's games were listed as priority accelerators. Angel Reese's games? Secondary engagement opportunities. The phrase ignited outrage. Fans accused the league of engineering imbalance, of creating self-fulfilling prophecies. Of course Clark sold out. She was being pushed everywhere. Of course others struggled. Support had been quietly pulled. Angel's supporters felt vindicated. Clark's defenders argued she earned every ounce of attention. And in the middle of it all, Angel posted again. This time words. I see everything now. For words. No clarification. The post racked up millions of views in an hour. Analysts scrambled. Teammates worried. Executives panicked. Because those 4 words didn't sound like surrender. They sounded like a warning. And as the league prepared its official response, one question hung over everything. What happens next when a star refuses to stay silent, and the system she's calling out starts to crack under scrutiny? The fallout didn't cool down, it multiplied. Every hour brought a new angle, a new accusation, a new spark tossed onto an already raging fire. Morning shows opened with side-by-side graphics of empty sections and packed arenas. Afternoon radio hosts argued about manufactured stardom versus earned demand. By nightfall, the narrative had shifted from tickets to power, from attendance to control. Angel Reese felt the shift immediately. What began as sympathy for her frustration hardened into something sharper. Her supporters weren't just defending her anymore. They were demanding accountability. Hashtags calling out selective promotions surged. Fans dug through old commercials, old league posters, old social posts, lining them up like evidence in a courtroom. Patterns emerged, or at least the appearance of them, and that was enough. In the court of public opinion, perception was guilt. Inside league headquarters, phones didn't stop ringing. Sponsors wanted clarity. Team owners wanted reassurance. Media partners wanted statements, fast. The word crisis started appearing in emails that were never meant to leak. And yet, the league stayed silent, which only made everything worse. Caitlin Clark tried to stay focused on basketball, but the noise followed her everywhere. Reporters stopped asking about pick and rolls and started asking about privilege. Teammates noticed the tension. How conversations stopped when she entered a room, how every smile was now dissected online. She hadn't asked for this, but she was standing at the center of it, whether she liked it or not. Then came the second twist. A well-known sports business podcast dropped a bombshell episode late one evening. The host claimed to have spoken to multiple insiders who revealed that the sold out in 36 minutes moment wasn't just organic hype. It had been strategically engineered. According to the report, limited ticket releases, staggered availability, and aggressive scarcity marketing were used to create a frenzy effect. Not illegal, not uncommon, but devastating in this context. The implication was explosive. If Clark's sellouts were being amplified by strategy, not just demand, then Angel's frustration suddenly looked less like envy and more like exposure. Clips from the podcast spread like wildfire. Fans replayed the words controlled release and intentional scarcity over and over, their meanings twisting with every retweet. Some felt betrayed. Others shrugged and said, "That's business." But for players already feeling overlooked, it felt like confirmation of their worst fears. Angel didn't comment publicly, but behind the scenes, she was livid. She met with her agent that night. Voices were raised. Futures were discussed. Endorsements. Image. Leverage. For the first time, the conversation wasn't just about basketball. It was about power. About whether staying quiet had cost her more than speaking out ever could. Her agent floated a dangerous idea. If the league wanted stars, stars could apply pressure too. Meanwhile, Caitlin's camp went into full defense mode. They pushed back hard on the podcast claims, calling them selective framing and standard industry practice. They emphasized her ratings' impact, her jersey sales, her social engagement numbers. The message was clear. This wasn't favoritism. This was response to demand. The problem? Angel's numbers started rising too. Her jersey sales spiked overnight. Her game saw a sudden surge in interest, fueled by controversy. Ironically, the outrage gave her what the marketing hadn't. And fans noticed. They began asking uncomfortable questions. If attention could be redirected so fast, why hadn't it been before? Was the league reacting now only because it had been forced to? The locker room tension reached a breaking point during a nationally televised game. Cameras caught Angel and Caitlin exchanging brief eye contact during warm-ups. Nothing dramatic, nothing overt. But in the slowed-down, overanalyzed world of social media, it became a moment. Screenshots froze their expressions. Body language experts weighed in. Commentators speculated about unspoken resentment. Neither player said a word, but the silence screamed. Then the league finally moved and made everything worse. A late-night press release announced a comprehensive review of promotional equity across teams and players. The wording was careful, corporate, sanitized. But one line jumped out. Adjustments may be made to future marketing allocations to ensure balanced representation. Balanced. To Angel's supporters, it sounded like victory. To Caitlin's fans, it sounded like punishment for success. To sponsors, it sounded like uncertainty. Stock dipped. Comment sections erupted. The league thought it was calming the storm. Instead, it confirmed there was something to investigate. And then, just when it seemed the chaos couldn't intensify, another leak surfaced. This one was personal. A private group chat, allegedly between marketing executives, was shared anonymously. The messages discussed faces of the league, marketable narratives, and safe bets. One line in particular sent shockwaves. "We can't afford to push everyone equally. Some stories sell better." The internet detonated. Angel Reese's name trended alongside words like disrespected and undervalued. Caitlin Clark's name trended alongside industry favorite and protected. The league's attempt at neutrality collapsed. Players from other teams chimed in with cryptic tweets, emojis, and vague statements that only fueled speculation. Angel finally broke her silence with a short video. She didn't yell. She didn't accuse. She looked straight into the camera and spoke calmly about wanting fairness, about wanting effort to match opportunity. Her voice cracked once, just once, and that was all it took. Millions watched. Millions believed her. But as the video ended, she said something that froze everyone in place. "There's more you don't know yet." No explanation. No follow-up. Just a promise. And as fans scrambled to figure out what that meant, one thing became terrifyingly clear. The ticket controversy was no longer the story. It was the doorway. Whatever Angel Reese was hinting at next had the potential to change not just how games were sold, but how the entire league operated. The reaction was instant, overwhelming, and impossible to control. Within minutes of Angel Reese's video going live, timelines flooded with raw emotion. Fans crying on live streams, former players posting long threads, commentators abandoning neutrality. The league didn't just have a controversy anymore. It had a reckoning. Arena crowds felt different the very next night. Every cheer sounded louder, sharper, charged with meaning. Every missed call was booed like proof of conspiracy. Signs popped up in the stands, some demanding fairness, others defending star power, many directly naming Angel and Caitlin like they were symbols instead of players. The games themselves became secondary. The atmosphere was the story. Angel Reese was embraced by a wave of support that felt both empowering and suffocating. Teammates rallied around her, but the locker room wasn't calm. It was tense, protective, alert. Every phone buzz brought another headline, another rumor, another source close to the situation. She was praised as brave, framed as a truth teller, but also warned quietly by people who had seen what happened to players who challenged the machine too loudly. Caitlin Clark faced a different kind of pressure. Sold-out arenas followed her like a shadow, but so did whispers. Applause was mixed with boos in places she'd never heard them before. Some fans accused her of benefiting from a system she didn't create. Others defended her fiercely, saying success shouldn't be punished. She kept her composure publicly, but those around her noticed the strain. The clipped answers, the extra workouts, the way she stayed longer after practice just to breathe. Media coverage turned brutal. Pundits picked sides. Panel shows dissolved into shouting matches. Clips were edited to fuel outrage rather than clarity. Every stat was weaponized. Every smile, every shrug, every pause in an interview became evidence for one narrative or the other. The league's image, carefully rebuilt over years, started to crack under the weight of nonstop scrutiny. Sponsors panicked. Some quietly paused campaigns. Others demanded meetings. Marketing teams scrambled to rewrite copy, afraid of being seen as favoring one player over another. Endorsement managers called agents at midnight, asking what would happen next. Nobody wanted to be on the wrong side of history, but nobody could agree on which side that was. Inside the league office, emergency meetings stretched late into the night. Executives argued over language, over optics, over whether acknowledging mistakes would calm the storm or pour gasoline on it. Kathy Engelbert was reportedly briefed hourly. One misstep now could define her tenure. Then came the players' voices. Not just Angel, not just Caitlin. Others spoke up, some directly, some through carefully worded posts. They talked about opportunity gaps, about being invisible until controversy forced a spotlight. They talked about carrying the league on their backs while feeling interchangeable off the court. The unity was powerful, but it also exposed fractures that had been hidden for years. Fans noticed. Attendance actually rose in unexpected markets, fueled by curiosity and protest energy. Viewership spiked. Engagement numbers exploded. Ironically, the chaos was good for business, and that uncomfortable truth wasn't lost on anyone paying attention. Critics accused the league of benefiting from pain. Defenders argued that growth is always messy. Angel Reese retreated from public view for several days. No posts, no interviews, silence that felt deliberate. Speculation ran wild. Was she preparing legal action? A documentary? A tell-all interview? Every theory gained traction because no one could confirm anything. Caitlin Clark finally addressed the situation in a brief, controlled statement. She emphasized respect. She emphasized love for the game. She avoided names. The response was split. Some praised her maturity. Others called it evasive. Either way, it didn't slow the storm. And then, just as the league hoped the noise might begin to fade, a single screenshot began circulating late one night. Unverified, blurry, cropped. It appeared to show a calendar invite, dated weeks before the ticket controversy, titled Narrative Alignment Strategy. The invite listed executives, marketing leads, and one outside consultant with a reputation for shaping sports empires. No context, no confirmation, just enough to raise one terrifying question. What if this wasn't a reaction at all, but a plan that had already been set in motion? The screenshot detonated the last illusion of control. By sunrise, narrative alignment strategy was everywhere, zoomed, enhanced, dissected, slowed down like game film. Analysts circled names with red arrows. Fans matched timestamps to previous marketing pushes. Influencers built hour-long breakdowns from a single blurry image. The league rushed to call it unverified, but the denial landed hollow. The damage was already done. Angel Reese broke her silence, not with words, but with movement. She arrived at the arena early, walked past cameras without acknowledging them, and sat alone in the locker room long before warm-ups. Teammates said she looked calm, almost resolved. Not angry, focused. That scared people more than rage ever could. When asked later why, one staffer whispered, "She knows something." Caitlin Clark felt the shift too. Not hostility, anticipation. Like the air before a storm breaks. Coaches pulled her aside. Advisors warned her to stay neutral. Friends told her to log off. But neutrality had become its own statement, and every choice now carried consequences. Then the second shoe dropped. A respected investigative journalist posted a thread, measured, cautious, devastating. The reporter confirmed the calendar invite existed. Confirmed it was real. Confirmed it involved a third-party consultancy hired to optimize growth narratives across women's basketball. No accusation of wrongdoing. No smoking gun. Just confirmation that the league had been planning stories, not just telling them. The thread ended with one line. "This goes deeper than tickets." Within minutes, a follow-up appeared. The consultant named in the invite had worked on multiple campaigns across sports, some celebrated, some controversial. In every case, a pattern emerged. Concentrate attention, manufacture scarcity, elevate one storyline to force the ecosystem to react. It wasn't illegal. It wasn't secret. But seeing it mapped onto real players, real careers, changed everything. Angel's camp moved fast. A statement dropped, carefully worded but unmistakably firm. She wasn't accusing. She was requesting transparency. She was calling for equal access to opportunity, not equal outcomes. And then, at the very end, one line froze the league in place. "We will be sharing additional information soon." The league's emergency response was immediate and frantic. Meetings were scheduled. Lawyers were looped in. Executives debated whether to get ahead of the story or wait it out. Some argued that growth required bold narratives. Others warned that players feeling manipulated would never forget it. Caitlin Clark made a private decision that night. One she didn't announce, one she didn't leak. She reached out to Angel directly. No cameras, no intermediaries, just a message. What was said remains unknown. But the next day, both players warmed up on opposite ends of the court, glancing over more than usual. Not hostile, curious, like two people realizing they'd been standing in the same storm from different sides. Fans sensed it. Speculation exploded. Was there an alliance forming? A joint statement? A coordinated move that could shift the power balance overnight? The idea that the league's two most polarizing stars might stop being pitted against each other and start asking the same questions terrified some executives and electrified everyone else. Then came the final twist. Late that evening, a leak from inside the league surfaced. An internal memo outlining a proposed overhaul of marketing strategy. The memo suggested rotating featured faces, shared spotlight campaigns, and, most shocking of all, player involvement in narrative planning. Control shared. The memo wasn't approved. It wasn't public. But it existed, which meant the league was already bending. Angel Reese reposted the memo screenshot with a single caption. "Progress starts somewhere." Caitlin Clark liked the post. The internet stopped breathing. No explanation followed. No press conference. No clarification. Just silence thick with possibility. Were they about to force real change together? Was this the beginning of a player-led era, or the calm before a brutal pushback? Because as insiders quietly warned that powerful interests don't surrender influence without a fight, one truth settled in over the league like a shadow. The rivalry that sold tickets had evolved into something far more dangerous. And whatever Angel Reese was preparing to reveal next wouldn't just rewrite the story. It might decide who gets to tell it at all. And now it's on you, because this story doesn't end on the court, in the boardroom, or inside leaked memos. It ends where pressure actually lives, with the fans, the voices, the attention that decides what the league becomes next. If you felt that tension in your chest while watching this unfold, you're not alone. If you question how narratives are built, who benefits from them, and who gets left fighting for oxygen, that discomfort is the point. This moment is bigger than sellouts and empty seats. Bigger than Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. Bigger than one headline or one viral clip. This is about whether women's basketball grows by lifting everyone, or by choosing favorites and daring the rest to keep up. Don't let this fade into background noise. Speak up. Debate it. Share your perspective, even if it makes people uncomfortable. Because silence is how systems stay unchanged, and attention is the one currency the league can't ignore. Watch the games. Support the players you believe in. Question the stories you're fed. Demand transparency without tearing down the athletes who are carrying the sport forward in real time. If you're tired of fake rivalries being used to drive clicks, say it. If you believe stars can coexist without one being sacrificed for another, prove it with your support. If you think players deserve a voice in how their stories are told, don't stop pushing until that voice is impossible to silence. This isn't about choosing sides, it's about choosing standards. The next move won't come from a press release. It'll come from how loudly fans react, how long they remember, and how unwilling they are to let this be just another controversy. Because every view, every comment, every conversation adds weight to the scale that decides what happens next. So stay locked in, because the league is watching, the players are watching, and whatever happens after this moment will be shaped by whether fans demand change, or let the story be rewritten without them.